Welcome once again to our very special presentation on Veracity. It's a system that Vince has been working on for the last 20 years, and you've asked a lot of questions about it, and this is the day that we finally take the covers off. Vince Vora is the head trader here at TradingWins. He has been trading professionally for over 30 years. Over the last 10 years, his focus has been on coaching and education, and he has perfected many systems that are based on technical analysis and price action. I don't want to take up a lot of time with this kind of information. I want to bring him in right away so that we can get going with the system. Vince, welcome.
Well, thank you. And first of all, welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. As Raul said, this has certainly been in the works for a while. But more importantly, this has been the better part of my career. I've been working on this system for the better part of 20 years, believe it or not. I will give you a bit of background on it and certainly give you the details behind the system, but it's been a journey, and I think this is a great time to be introducing this. The markets have been challenging, which is one of the things we're going to be talking about, and I think this is something that can really help you out, so I thought I'd share it with you. For those of you joining us for the first time, I'm Vince Vora, the head trader here at TradingWins. Sorry, let me just get the mic situation settled here. Great, hopefully that's coming through loud and clear. As I was saying, I'm the head trader here at TradingWins, and I have actually been trading for a little over 30 years, and I am the developer of the Veracity system. Now, some of these trades that you're seeing here, these are just some of the setups that the system has identified for us, but you know, you may at first glance have a look at these percentages and think, wow, that's crazy, that you know, too good to be true, whatever you might be thinking. What I'm going to be doing for you today is showing you that not only is this possible, but we identify trades like this on a very regular basis, and I will go through details. But as most of you know, our services are used by not only retail traders such as yourself, but also many money managers around the world as well. Please do remember that trading can be risky, and so please don't trade with real money until you're completely comfortable with the system that you are using. Now, in today's presentation, I really only have a handful of slides. I'm going to spend a very short amount of time on the slides. I know you're all anxious to see how the system can perform, and I want to clearly show you how it does. But I want to first start off by talking a bit about the biggest challenges that we've seen in this market. Now, I've been receiving emails from many of you and many questions throughout our live market chats, etc., that have been highlighting the challenges. But certainly, you know, with all the markets I've seen over the past 30 years, this is a tough one. And again, that's why this would be a great time to release this. But I'm also going to talk a bit about the components involved in this and give you a bit of background on how I got started down the path and my search for the Holy Grail. Now, more specifically, I'll get into how it works and, more importantly, why it works, but most importantly, how it can actually work for you. And then we will, time permitting, answer as many of your questions as we can. So let's get started and let's start talking about the challenges. Now, before I highlight some of the common challenges that I've seen from my students, I want to ask you that question. What has been your greatest challenge recently in this market? Please take 10, 15, 20 seconds and type in what challenge you're experiencing. I'll do my best as always to help you work around that, but more importantly, show you how Veracity can do that for you. Wow, many comments here. Let's see. Losing, choppy, volatility, yes. Win-loss ratio, wow. They're going so fast I can barely keep up. Let's see. Greg is saying finding good trades, getting whipsawed. Boy, I can't even keep up, honestly. Is there a way to slow this down? Discipline. Yeah, okay, that's a great one. And we're going to talk about all these points, actually. I've seen choppiness over and over again, defending trades. That's a great one. Thanks, Tim, Charles, Dennis, chopping markets again, Rick, day-to-day volatility. Absolutely. So, and I mean, you've pretty much covered the spectrum there of challenges. Richard says consistent profits as well. Well, hopefully this will help you out. Let me share with you 3 of the most common that I've seen lately, and these were really mentioned multiple times here in the last few minutes. One of the biggest and most common ones is volatility. Absolutely. Now, I want to show you, number one, how to identify volatility on a chart, but wanted to ask you as well, does anyone here know how you can quickly and easily spot volatility on a chart? How do you know you're actually in a period of increased volatility? I'm going to bring up my charts, and sure, Bernard says ATR, which is average true range. That's certainly one way of doing it. Charles, let's see, RSI, bar size. Yes, thanks you, Joseph, who says bar size. That's part of this, and let me show you. So here is a chart of the S&P futures, and what stands out here, at least to me, what stands out are these areas right in here. Let me draw these in for you, right in here and over here. And if we compare these to this area in here and also over here, one very quick and easy way to identify volatility is by using candlesticks. And not the specific types of candlesticks, but look at in this area, not only are the bars much larger than usual, okay, but there are a lot of wicks and tails on these candles, right? All over the place, especially over here. Look at these long tails, long wicks, compared to this area here where the market is slowly trending in one direction, and you can barely see any tails. There's a few here. Look at back here, hardly any, okay? So that's one quick and easy way for you to spot that. But what does it really mean, and how does it affect your trading? Well, when it comes to volatility, it's really all about time frame, okay? If you're intraday trading, if you're day trading, volatility is going to be one of your best friends, because within each of these areas of increased volatility, there are going to be some very nice trends on a 5-minute, a 15-minute, even an hourly chart. So volatility can actually be your best friend. So if you're having difficulty on a daily chart, a weekly chart, for example, during these times, move down to a lower time frame, and it can actually become your friend. Now, on a daily chart, absolutely, this can be one of your greatest enemies. On a weekly or a monthly chart, it really doesn't matter a whole lot, because those charts are really smoothed out and really don't get affected very much by volatility. Okay? And so now trading is so much more important about the tools that you're using than it is about the actual market environment. Like a contractor, any job is going to be much easier if you're working with the right tools, and trading is very, very much the same. Okay? Another challenge has been market direction. Okay? It really can be easier to spot on a longer time frame, but not as easy to spot on a shorter time frame. The problem is that by the time you spot that trend on a daily, it's usually 2/3 of the way over. So it's super important to have something that will identify that trend early, and I'm going to show you just how well Veracity will do that for you. Okay? Lastly, and this was mentioned many times, when to exit. Okay? And this is usually an issue because of discipline, but most discipline issues stem from the lack of confidence in either yourself as a trader or your trading plan. Okay? And also the issue of not being able to spot that current trend. So let me go back to that chart of the S&P and show you. It might be simple to identify an area to enter. You know, we use many systems here at TradingWins. One of them is our favorite trade setup, our winning momentum strategy, etc. So let's assume we spotted an entry up in here. Once we knew we were in this trend, we got in. Okay? How easy is it to follow an exit strategy and actually have the discipline to follow through? Well, remember, it comes from confidence. And if you lack that confidence, once you're in this trade, as soon as you get a couple of candles that look like this, you're going to start doubting yourself. Even if you're in a profit, you're going to think, oh, is this turning? Am I going to give up those profits? Should I exit? And more often than not, we panic out of a trade early rather than staying in for the full move. Okay, so that's a really, really key point. And again, it comes from confidence. Veracity is going to keep you in that trade longer, okay? And it's going to get you out quick when it just isn't going your way, okay? Making you a more consistent trader. Now, the components of the system. There are a very specific set of indicators, customized indicators that we use with this strategy. But I want to step back for a minute and talk about how all of this got started. Many of you know my story about starting out trading on fundamental analysis, then, excuse my language, getting my ass kicked, and then switching to technical analysis. But really, this journey began when I started trading professionally. When I was hired by the firm I work with, and started training at first, I went in with a bit of self-doubt. I really was not sure whether I would be able to hack it as a trader and actually make a career out of it. But once I got started, I quickly realized that I actually did quite well. And compared to the other traders I was working beside, I was doing very well. So I became a little confident and started thinking that, I could crack the code, that there actually was a holy grail and that I could find it. And so I started my search and quickly found that no, there really wasn't a holy grail. Do any of you still believe there's a holy grail? And we can talk more about that. There's nothing wrong with continuing the search. For me, it became an obsession, okay? And it still is an obsession for me. Now, the perfect system that is completely risk-free does not exist, but Veracity is as close to it as you're going to find, okay? So I want to show you quickly a chart that I started out with here. Let me just switch here and put on what I would call my first draft. Now, there were actually more indicators on here than what you're seeing right now. And I know this looks like a complete mess, and it really was. And there were actually a lot more indicators on this chart when I first started out. But over the years, over that course of the 20 years, this has developed into, and it's still a strategy that has many indicators, but it's developed into something much more organized. Okay. Now, more importantly here, let me just flip back. More importantly, how do I know that this will actually work for someone other than me? Well, I do know, and I'm certain of it, because I've been testing this and perfecting it for the past 20 years. The core system came about in a matter of weeks or a couple of months. But beyond that, there are so many tweaks. I went back and forth and back tested and forward tested it over and over and over again. And over the years, have adjusted for all different types of market conditions. So not only do I know it works, I know it works on a long-term basis, and I know it works through all types of markets. And I'm going to once again share that with you today. So how and why does it work? Well, what it was really designed for was to not miss the big moves. That's the difference here. I've developed many systems. I've got our favorite trade setup, our winning momentum strategy, etc. And they're all designed to pick out a specific safe area to trade during the middle of a trend. We always focus on that middle 60%. And any part of that we can grab, we're happy with, because our first objective is to be risk averse and do this the right way. And for example, let me show you. Let me bring up this chart again. I'm going to flip back here, and let's show you an example of a trade. For those of you joining us the first time here, if you focus on this trend here, we use the 20-period moving average for momentum to judge whether or not we've got momentum on our side. And I'm not going to go through the lengthy process of describing our entries and et cetera, but here would have been one setup to the short side with our favorite trade setup. Okay. Now, this would have been a great trade, a nice move. The middle part of that trend, nothing wrong with it. Nice and safe, nice and easy, right? But what if you could catch the whole trend? What if you could enter up in here and remain in that trade until you're down here? Okay. how do you think that would change your trading or improve your trading if you could catch 100% of that move, or at least close to it? Okay, that's the key here with Veracity. And the best part of this is that you can capture almost 100% of that move without taking additional risk. That's the real key here. When you think of unlimited gains when you're trading, you automatically think of unlimited risk, right? But you all know how conservative I am. I absolutely hate risk. And you've all heard me say that there's an aggressive way to enter a trade and a conservative way to enter a trade. Well, Veracity will allow you to enter that trade conservatively, but still allow you to swing for that home run. Okay, so you can continue to trade with a safety net. That's the biggest part of this. So what I'm really trying to say in simple language is you can have your cake, you can eat it, and you can have a bag of chips. And now I'm getting hungry. But no, I'm going to show you how it can work for you. This is really the best part. Now, what this does is not only does it identify short-term and swing trading opportunities, but again, this was designed for those massive moves. And no matter what time frame you're trading, you're going to be able to capture those. Okay, and even more important, it will predict the major market moves. So when it comes to overall market trend, you're going to have your own forecasting tool. No need to listen to CNBC or any analyst who identify that trend well after it's already underway. So let's get to the charts now. That's it for my slides. I'm going to switch to my charts here, and let's start talking about Veracity, and let me show you. But first of all, let me switch charts here. I want to go to the S&P 500 here and show you something. I'm going to switch to the monthly. Actually, first, what I'll do is tell you a little bit about the indicator. Let me add on the Veracity setup here. Okay, there we go. Now, don't worry too much about what you're seeing and whether trades would have been winners or losers right now. Just pay attention to what I'm saying. So the little diamonds here that you see, those identify the setup candle, and the arrows identify the actual trigger in the trade. So if you first saw a green diamond, that means that a long trade is about to set up, and then once it has been confirmed and it's time to buy, the arrow will show up. The red diamond indicates a short setup, while the red arrow indicates time to go short that market. So this is a chart of the S&P 500, and going all the way back here to before the year 2000. And you can see now the indicators, the combination of indicators that I have on here require a certain number of data points to do their calculations, and that's why you start seeing the trades from this point on, from 2004 on. But you can see that when we were in this trade here, and once you're in a trade, all the bars paint green. Once you're in a short trade, they all paint red. But these are, this is the market swings. Right? So you can tell most recently from the middle of 2012 up until August of 2015, we were in a bull trend. Okay, and that's very important. So when you see that on that monthly time frame, you now know exactly what you should be looking for on a weekly or on a daily, which is long trades, for example. So this gets you in very, very early in that trend and identifies the endpoint as well. Now, another part of this indicator, like we do have for the other strategies that we have, is an expert commentary. So let me just quickly demo the indicator here quickly, and then I'm going to show you, because I know you're all waiting for to see what this can do. We have what we've called an expert commentary, and this really holds your hand and walks you through the trade. Whether you're on a monthly, a weekly, a daily, it really doesn't matter. But what this does is it puts this little black triangle here in the far right. It always defaults to the far right candle, so that you know exactly what point of the trade you're in. And this commentary panel will tell you a bit about myself and TradingWins and this indicator, but it will more importantly identify what you're supposed to be doing. So by clicking above a candle, you can move that little triangle around, and you can see that I've moved it to the setup candle here. And when you get that little diamond, this will tell you that the Veracity indicator is currently signaling a long trade setup. And to confirm this, you need a valid buying opportunity, which is the little green arrow here. Okay, once you have that, now you're in that trade, and now it's going to talk a bit about what kind of option you should be looking at if you're an option trader. Do we have option traders with us? How many of you are option traders? Because boy, you can really leverage this with options. Excellent. Wow, quite a few. Awesome. Okay, and the other great part of this, one of the best parts of this Metastock indicator, and the real reason why we partnered with Metastock is for their scanner. So if you go up to the top left here, this little P, the power console, this opens up the power console, and I'm going to stretch this out. And if this top half here are all the strategies that Metastock has programmed into their software. If you go to the bottom, here are all of mine, and here's the Vora Veracity, and you can scan for the setups or the ones that have already triggered, the signals. And then the bottom panel allows you to select your markets. The core search that I do every night that I start with is the 30 stocks in the Dow Jones, the Dow Jones Transports, NASDAQ 100, and S&P 500 large cap. Once you have those identified, you select your time frame, you go to the bottom right and click Start Exploration. Now you're going to see just how quickly this goes through those 536 charts that I've selected. To do this manually would take you a lot longer. You'll see within a few seconds we've gone through it, and we will have a list of trade candidates to use. Now I'm going to go through many charts with you, and so don't worry. And we're also going to be looking at a couple of these for potential trade setups. But here we are, we're done. Once it's done, you just click on the reports tab here, and there we go. It gives you that list. You can save this list, you can print it, you can copy and paste it, or you can sort it here, long, shorts, by price. You can sort by price, anything you want, and then you can select a chart and open it up, okay? And there's Costco, for example. So it's very quick and easy to use. Let me close this. There we go. And so it is very simple and easy to use and very quick. But let's talk about how Veracity works and what it can actually do to you. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about a couple of these results in here and potential trade candidates, okay? So I'm going to just expand this. I want you to see the full screen and show you that here. Let me bring on the add-on. And now I'm going to ask, I'll give you all an opportunity to type in a symbol if you want me to have a look at it. We can go through a few of those later. But one thing I wanted to do to just prove to you that I'm not just cherry picking symbols here is to take an index and run through the stock. Would you agree that if I go through an index, you'll have a good balance of stocks? So I'm going to take the Dow components, all right, the Dow 30 components, and run through a few of those charts. And then we're going to talk about unpredictable events and how this might have performed during that, and then look at futures, forex, all of that. So let's start going through some of the Dow components, and I'm going to go through these on multiple time frames. So you can see that we're on a monthly here, and this is 3M, okay? And you can see just how well it picks off these setups. And sorry, I don't think I showed you the little exit tabs here that appear when it's time to exit. You can see the most recent run on 3M took us from about that 90-95 level all the way up here before getting it actually hit a high of above 170, but took us out in around the 155 range. So those are the types of trades that it identifies on a regular basis. Now let's go to the weekly to see how it would have performed. There you go, nice and steady. and nice and easy. So going back to what I was saying about your confidence as a trader and your discipline. And yes, you're going to have to follow signals here and follow that exit and stay in that trade until you see that exit. But once you start trading with this, this is what's going to help you build that confidence, not only in the system, but as a trader as well, which is huge. Let's look at the daily time frame. Okay. And the one thing that I want you to continuously notice is that it does not miss the big move. 3M on a daily is still in this trade right from back here in early February, okay, right around that 154 mark, and it's currently at almost 167. So back in here, again, does it capture 100% of the move? Maybe not 100, but pretty close to it, okay? Let's look at a few others. Here's Disney. Disney on the daily, nice, catches very nice swings back and forth, the bulk of those moves. So with other systems, we're trying to grab a piece of those. Okay? Here, we're capturing the majority of it, and the key again is that we're not giving up the safety net. We are still very well protected with this and are still trading as a very conservative trader. I wouldn't trade any other way myself. Let's look at the weekly time frame. Okay, I see that all of you are already putting in some symbols. We'll try to get to it. Look at Walt Disney on a weekly. Here, just beautiful, beautiful trends, nice and easy. And the other thing I haven't mentioned is level of activity. You notice that even though we have something that's extremely accurate, we have not given up our activity level. You know, that was one of the problems that I faced early on with designing this, is the fact that, you know, the more indicators I had on, the less active I would become. Well, over the years, I've managed to still keep a number of those indicators in there to ensure the accuracy, but still, you know, you're almost always in a trade here. Let's look at the monthly on Disney. Boom, there it is. So beautiful, beautiful setups along the way. Another Dow component is IBM. How many of you trade IBM or have in the past? Here's the monthly, the most recent signal here, or sorry, the daily. We're still in that trade to the long side. So even in these markets where, you know, I'm certainly expecting a downturn and so on, there are opportunities here, you know, highlighted by a system that you can really trust and have confidence in. And this has really been a career changer for me. But again, there's blood, sweat, and tears in here. There were many, many days of pure frustration for me with this. But over the years, it's come together nicely. Here's the weekly. Let's look at the monthly. And there it is again. Some very, very nice trades. And here you go. Here's a perfect example of this one. You know, many times when we're talking about any of my systems, we want to trade with momentum, and we use that 20-period moving average to identify momentum. Well, there's some of these trades that even out of these flat areas, you can see predicts that. Now, a little later, I'm going to talk more about, you know, which of these trades you should take, because one thing that you don't need to do is take all of these trades, and I'm going to touch on that a little more a little later. I'll also have Raul come back on and help me answer some questions, because I can see from the corner of my eye the list just scrolling through, but I really want to cover some of these Dow components. I know many of you must trade Apple. Just about everyone trades Apple. Well, here's Apple on the monthly, and the really cool part here is this, and I think I forgot to mention this earlier on, but one of the real reasons why I started this is when I started trading, there were a few stocks that made huge moves that, you know, turned from penny stocks into monster stocks. It's sort of like Microsoft. Before Microsoft became Microsoft, it was a single-digit stock, and then it just blew up. So I was always curious, how can I identify the beginning of that move, and how do I get in when it's a penny stock and ride that up? And here's Apple, and look at Apple. I'm going to highlight this in 04, all right? There's when we got in here in '04. 375 was the open for that day, $3.75. And look at what has happened since, and look at how much of the move that we have been able to capture with Veracity. There are very few candles here that we were not in a trade. So the bulk of that move from 375 up into the 120, 130 area was captured. That's really the power of this. So, you know, you can look at this. Here you go on the weekly. Look, once again, we're hardly ever out of a trade, okay? And you can see just how well it captures these moves over and over again. But when they don't work out, you're in and out quickly. So the goal, like every other system we have, is to not only have more winners than losers, but to have bigger wins than losses as well. Apple just fired off again today here on the daily. Okay, and here's a nice long move. Look at that drop. Most people would not have predicted this drop here in Apple, but we got, not only did it predict that drop very early, we got the bulk of that move all the way down here, right? And I'll come back to it. I'm going to go through a few signals and then go over this time period here. This was a critical time period last August. Do you remember this day when the Dow was down over 1,000 points? Flash crash? Well, how did this do? How did this perform in the flash crash, right? Look at Apple here. Got you out, or short, excuse me, well ahead of time. And you're able to take advantage of that. Now, remember, there's more that you can do with this other than just saying sell on red, buy on green. There's a lot more involved in this, and I'll touch on it some more. And let's go through a few more. How are we doing for time, by the way? I think we're still okay. Let's see. I see a lot of questions about the platform and about Metastock, but don't worry. I'm going to show you how you can get the platform for free, okay? Don't worry about that. Let's finish going through this. I really want to show you that this is not a one-off, okay? This is consistency at its best. Look at Johnson & Johnson on a daily. Now, this is a stock that's been around a long time, and more recently, you know, has been trading in a range. So you can see in the daily that there is choppiness, no question. There's choppiness, but we're still able to capture the significant moves. And I'll show you how you can avoid some of that chop and stay in for the bigger moves. But here's the weekly, more consistent, right? And there's the monthly here, beautiful. Here's the most recent one. We're still in here from throughout that whole bull market on Johnson & Johnson. Another critical Dow component in the news a lot, ExxonMobil. You know, the whole oil story. Well, look at that move here. It caught all of that move, all of it. I've yet to see a system on this that does that consistently. That's the main thing, is consistency. Let's look at weekly on Exxon. Here it is. And even though it may get you in and out a few times, we're talking about a matter of commission. The key to this is knowing which of these arrows to take seriously and which not, okay? Here's the daily. Again, downturn, but look at what portion of that we were short. Here's that crash in well ahead of time to the short side, capturing that full move, right? And we can put on just about any stock. Here's American Express, okay? Financial, boom, capture that whole downturn right from the beginning. We broke out of that channel, we go short, and off it goes. Let's look at the weekly chart. Again, very impressive here. Caught that full move. Monthly, okay? Tell me if you're getting tired of this. I certainly never get tired of this. I love seeing this kind of performance. Let's see. Beautiful. Look at that. And see, here's another thing. How did we know that this trend was over here? How could it have identified? This is 20 years of work. I can tell you honestly that the number of hours I've put into this, I don't even want to calculate. Who was it? So I'm going to ask my staff here, who was it that has the 10,000 hour rule that we were talking about? Michael Gladwell. Malcolm Gladwell, exactly. Says if you do anything for 10,000 hours, you can't help it but be a master at it. Well, I'd say I've put in at least that much into this. Look at Home Depot since 2012 on this, from a $30, $35 stock up in here. Now, how many of you trade on a longer term basis, like for retirement accounts and just investing rather than trading? Do any of you invest rather than trade? See, Robert, Farzad, Philip, Richard, yes. Imagine holding a stock like Home Depot that pays dividends throughout all this time. Imagine having a portfolio of these. That's really what this is all about. That's why several money managers have jumped on board here as well, because this really makes a huge difference. Let's look at how it would have performed on a weekly or daily. And trust me, I'll get to the intraday as well. I'll show you the most popular one of all, the S&P E-minis, and how that performs. So here's Home Depot on a weekly. Here's the daily. Okay. Yes, there's chop, but not only is there a way to avoid some of this, but even if there wasn't, would you really care? I certainly wouldn't. It's a matter of commissions, maybe small losses, but it's going to guarantee I catch the run, which is really what I'm interested in. Let's look at another Dow component, Nike. Nike has done phenomenally well. Look on the daily more recently, even throughout this chop, it's caught some moves. Weekly, looks fantastic. And on the monthly, even better. There you go. From a $10 stock, okay, or even less. What was this? Probably less, about $7, all the way through to 62. When you have something that you know is not going to miss the big run, it's only a matter of time. Many of us in the past have bought lottery tickets or whatever it is, hoping for that big win. Well, it's just a matter of time. That's really reality here. UNH, another Dow component. Here you go. From the low 20s, first run up over 50. Then it even gave us a short on the pullback. And then a huge run up to 130 here on the monthly. Let's go back to weekly. There you go. So again, you can pick just about any stock, and some will be a chop fest like this on the daily. Look at UNH on the daily, okay? But again, like we talk about, even with our other systems, we can identify this and stay out of this. That's the real key. A few more, as I'm sure many of you are probably getting a little tired. Let's see, Pfizer on the daily. Some chop, grabs the big move weekly. So it doesn't matter what sector they're from, what type of stock they are, what price level. It really doesn't matter. The key is that it captures those moves. Okay, let's look at DuPont, another one here. There we go on the monthly, a nice recent one. Caught us out before the big collapse. The weekly, beautiful on the weekly and on the daily. Okay, we can come back and go through some more. I want to highlight a couple other things. I want to go back to that period in August, and I'm going to bring back the chart of the S&P here and look at this period. So here was a quick drop for whatever reason it happened, in the flash crash, right? All part of it. When it comes to a flash crash, I can honestly say, and most people fear it completely. I don't. Reason why is I know that there's only two people or two products that can predict that flash crash. One is the person who causes it, and the other is Veracity, because I've seen it happen more than once. Here on the S&P Mini, you can see that it triggered right from the top here. But more importantly, okay, more importantly, because what if you missed that move? What if you weren't around for this? It happened so quickly that you might have not been able to jump on board, or maybe you thought, well, that's, you know, too much risk for me or whatever it is, and you decided to skip it. But how would have this quick crash affected your other positions? Because for the most part before this, most people would have been long, okay? How would it have performed? Well, let's go back and look at how some of the others, look at the last one we looked at, Nike. And let's go back to this area here, right in August. This was the drop. Well, you can see that we caught this run. It had got us back in and quickly got us out right here before the bulk of that drop. Okay? Saved us from that drop. Could we have taken advantage of it with another stock? Look at Boeing, the exact same thing. So that's what I mean. You can look at just about anything, but it took a long time, but I finally managed to find a way to capture all those the bigger moves. Now, you don't have to trade this with stocks. If you're a futures trader, you can trade this on futures just as well. Any time frame, doesn't matter. Here's gold. Okay, look at these moves. It caught on gold, and this is the daily. This is the daily chart. Look at the weekly. Okay. Now, imagine now if you use multiple time frames to confirm your entries. I mean, this you can see is more than strong enough on its own to use on any one time frame. But you know, if you decided to follow the trend, so say on gold, we're only going to focus on long trades during this period, and then you switch back to the weekly and the daily, and you only take the long Veracity traders. I mean, it's pretty much a given, honestly. It really is that simple. Remember, now this is more for our members. Our members know we've been following the USD CAD Forex pair for quite some time, and on the monthly, there was a huge cup and handle type formation. Now, we usually show it on TOS. Let me bring it up here on Metastock and show you. Now, Metastock has it reverse CAD USD, but let's go to that monthly. Here we are. And remember, this was that base. This was that base. Now, on the TOS chart, which was USD CAD, it was reversed, so we were going from the bottom up. But have a look here. Here's that base, and even before it completes that handle, this gives you the signal to go short. So not only did it capture that move, it caught it early. Okay, and there's that move. So whether you're trading a forex pair, futures contract, a stock, ETF, it really doesn't matter. And if you're dying to see if it works on intraday, let's go back here. The most popular intraday traded instrument, the S&P E-minis, and let's not look at it on a monthly. Let's look at it, say, on a 50-minute. I prefer the 15-minute and the hourly. Okay, I'll show you both. Here's the 15-minute, and this is recently. Okay, this was today. A nice move. Here's yesterday. Nice move. Let's move back. Nice move. Nice move. I mean, really, 15 minutes. Okay, look at that. Those are, you know, and these weren't crazy busy, volatile days. Very limited range, but very, very nice setups across the board. Let's look at the hourly and see if there was anything there recently. Okay, some chop, absolutely, but there's a nice run right there. There's a nice run. Look at this one. Beautiful. Okay, so, you know, you can take every arrow here. You can buy on every green. You can sell on every red. Okay, but I don't want you to actually do that. Okay, I'm going to teach you how to select the right trades. Right. So how do you get this, and how do you make it work for you, and how do you get the indicator in the training? Well, we've put together a couple of fantastic packages for you. Now, you can read through this, but I want to just highlight some of the key points. to this. And I'm just going to grab my highlighter because I really want to show you that in the Platinum package here, you're going to get the full Veracity indicator like I just showed you. But here's a key. We're gonna throw in a lifetime license to Metastock, okay, and include 2 months of data. Not only that, our staff, our technicians are going to get on the phone with you and make sure that you install that program properly. It only takes about 15 minutes. They'll take care of everything for you. But here's the part I really want to highlight and I want to focus on. These 2 training sessions that we have. I'm not just going to give you this tool and let you walk away from it. Again, there are very specific ways to select certain trade setups and not others that will really improve your performance. And we've got the first training scheduled for April 5th and the other one for April 12th, where I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And we're also throwing in a 30-day membership to our pro service. Now, this is for everyone. So even if you're a current member, and we're going to add 30 days to your current subscription. Okay. Now, on the right here is our day trader package. And this includes everything you get on the left. Okay. But it's really more specific for the day traders here. Included, along with everything else that you're going to get, is a lifetime license to Metastock real time here. And we're including 3 months of data as well. But we've got one additional training session. That's on the 19th, and it happens during market hours at 10 a.m. Eastern on the 19th, where I'm going to specifically show you how you should be day trading with this. We'll look for real trades, and more importantly, I'll share with you my options plan for intraday trading, specifically for intraday trading. And we're going to include a 60-day membership to our pro service. And again, for our current members, we'll just tack on 60 days to your current subscription. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned, but it's a promise from me to you, that during these training sessions, it's going to be my goal to not only teach you this the best I can, but to try to help you as much as I can to not only make back your investment, but many times that. Okay, that's my promise to you. Now, out of the corner of my eye, I see tons of questions going through, so I think it's best if I bring on Raul and try to keep track of these questions, because I honestly can't read them. Raul, let me just switch over the mic here and bring you back on. If you can help me read some of those, we'll get through them.
Most importantly,
yes.
How do they get to the link?
Thank you.
We can tell that you're not a salesperson.
No, and I love this system so much, I get all excited. TradingWins.com/win. Right up in here, TradingWins.com/win. It should be in your chat. You can click on it from there. Of course, they can call in if they like as well.
They can. It's 1-888-574-2426. I wanted to let you know that the link has also been sent to your email, so you can look for it there. You can just click the link in your chat box. That also helps. Vince, Mauro is asking, what exactly is the lifetime license to Metastock?
Well, and here's the real reason why we included that. We know many of our members and many others prefer other platforms like Thinkorswim, Thinkorswim, or TradeStation, for example. And the reason why we wanted to do this is, you don't have to give up what you have. We really wanted to give you one package that has everything and allows you to scan for those trades and find those opportunities. And then you can take those and trade on whatever platform you want or with whichever brokerage you want. But the lifetime license here for Metastock, the DC software, Metastock normally sells that for $500 alone. So what this means is, aside from the small data fees involved, there's nothing else to ever buy or to pay for that software. So we wanted to throw that in for you. And the real-time version here is actually sold for $1,200 by Metastock. So again, we went through great lengths to try to put together a package that not only gives you everything you need to actually trade with this the proper way, but make it as affordable for you as we could.
Richard says, does the system scan to find the best instruments and time frame to trade?
Yes, well, again, you can just focus on whatever time frame you're most comfortable on. It really is that strong that it doesn't require that multi-time frame confirmation. But like with anything created with technical analysis, the more you can trade in line with the overall market, the better. So, and you saw just how great of a forecasting tool it is. So using those multiple time frames is even better.
I know data fees are something that's common in the industry. For the end of day package, the DC package that you're seeing there, the data fees for what most of our members need, which is the North American information, is approximately $25 a month. And what do you say about that?
You know, it's a cost of doing business. I mean, it's really, it's not, does an accountant need a calculator? I mean, yeah, it's part of it, right? And it's really a very small amount. I'll put it to you this way: if you're worried about $25 when you're trading them, you know, maybe you're not ready to trade yet. And I don't say that in a condescending way, but you know, with this, even with the smallest account, and you know, maybe trading one option contract, you can really grow your account consistently. And again, I'm going to do everything I can to help you with that.
Options trading.
Yes.
What's the best way to trade options with the system?
Well, I'm going to go through that in detail in those classes. We're going to cover that, and it really depends on the time frame. So there's specific things I want you to focus on for the day trading, and others depending on daily, weekly, monthly, and I will teach you all that in our pro training sessions, which, by the way, I might not have mentioned, will be recorded. Okay, will be recorded. So you're not only going to be able to attend the live session, but if you can't, you'll get that recording and be able to watch it as many times as you like.
Now, Vince, we released Veracity to just a few select individuals who've been using for a little while. One of those folks, Sandy C., who's been a long-time member, is on with us today.
Great.
I wanted to bring him on so
Excellent.
you can ask him a couple questions about the system and see how it has been working for him.
Sure.
Sandy, I'm going to open up your mic in just a moment.
Let me see if, let me just adjust my headset here and see if I can. Hi, Sandy, you there? Oh, I don't hear anything. Is it just me, or do you hear him?
I don't hear him yet.
No.
Sandy, if you're there,
Okay.
let us know. We'll do a quick sound check.
No problem.
In the meantime, I'll get to some other questions.
Sure, absolutely. I see that they still keep scrolling by. There's lots. We'll do our best to answer as many as we can for you. If we can't get to your question, by all means, you can email us or call in and speak to our staff. Our staff will be here a little later tonight. We've extended them for a little while so that they can help you out.
Good, you're paying overtime.
Yes.
Richard L. was asking, how does this work for a smaller account?
It works great. I mean, one of the biggest risks when you start out and trade with a small account is that every mistake you make or every losing trade really hurts. You know, when you have a larger account, it doesn't hurt all that much. But when you have a small account, it really hurts. So having something that is extremely consistent is even more important with a small account. And the real difference here is, since this was designed to capture those big moves, when you do, once you capture those big moves, you're no longer going to have a small account. That's the whole point of this. So, you know, I'll show you the safe way of doing this.
Why are the pro training sessions so important? Mention that for me one more time.
They are, again, because, you know, whenever you have
because the question that, excuse me, I'm sorry to speak over it. The question that had come up was, how do you trade it in these choppy markets?
Oh, and it's a great question, right? And it's one of the biggest challenges. That's why we started with that. But a system like this, when you program it into an indicator that gives the arrows, it's even if you did follow each arrow, okay, you'd still do well, but that's not the point of this. And that's why we put in these additional training sessions. I really honestly don't want to just give you this and have you walk away with it and then go trade it on your own. It's sort of like, again, going back to that contractor mention. If I give you a miter saw, for example, and you're not familiar with it, you can really hurt yourself. And that's the whole point of these training sessions. I want you to do this the proper way. I want you to come in, spend a couple of hours at each session with us, at least 4 hours for the platinum package, at least 6 hours for the day trader package. And I'm going to show you exactly which trades you should be focusing on, but more importantly, explain why. That way, when you walk away from those sessions, you'll be able to trade it completely on your own. But as always, we're always here. You can email us, you can come into our live market chats and ask me any question you like.
Ron P. was saying, do you need to have a real-time data feed to be able to use Veracity with Metastock?
No, only if you want to day trade, like anything under the 1 hour time frame. So if you want to trade the 5-minute, 15-minute, then absolutely I'd suggest the day trader package. But if you're trading on hourly and higher, it really the platinum package is perfect for you.
I know it's been you've been ambivalent about releasing this system.
I have. Now, I mean, when you've worked on something so hard and for so long, it becomes very personal. There were a lot of nights where this wasn't coming together, and after all the hours I spent, I really thought it would have been a waste of time. When I was at the firm, not only was I working extremely hard during the day, and as I'm sure many of you know, trading can be very stressful. So it was a real effort I had to put in. But then once the market closed, I stayed behind and worked on this system. And there were many, many nights where I would leave the office at 11 p.m., midnight, even 1 a.m., and be back at it at 5 a.m. the next morning. So this is very personal for me.
I'm going to check one more time to see if Sandy C. is on with us. Sandy, sure. If you're on with us, let us know.
Hi. Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, great. Yes, I can, Sandy. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yep, sorry about that. It was I had some settings wrong.
Not a problem. Thanks. It's nice speaking to you again. I was hoping to see you again this year in New York, like last, but I couldn't get out there. Hopefully we can soon.
Okay, maybe I'll see you in Vegas.
Yes, absolutely. So, really, let me ask you. I'm assuming you've been trading with Veracity for a while, and just wanted to know how it's been going for you.
Yeah, well, first of all, you've let the secret out, so I'm not too happy about that. No, actually, it's a double-edged thing. I mean, it's obviously it was a nice secret, but I'm glad that you've decided to shine the light on it, because like you always say, repetition is good. It gives me the benefit of hearing it again and hearing other people's questions. It's actually been going great. I originally started using it proactively around about October, after that boot camp that I came to in Vegas.
Yep.
And I split my trading into 2 accounts. I have the long-term IRA account, and I have the swing trading brokerage account. So the initial use of Veracity was really confined to the IRA. So I was actually running monthly scans, and I was actually doing the whole 9 yards that you had described. So Veracity, buying leaps off the Veracity signals, mirroring that with a put, and then selling shorter expiration calls against that, and that worked beautifully over that period, October, November.
Nice.
Are you sure you haven't been hacking into my brokerage account? Because you actually highlighted some of the symbols that I made money on, like Disney, Triple M, Apple, J&J. Those are all my memorable trades.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, anyone focusing on the Dow components should have had the same trade. So that's fantastic. And see, it's great. I'm glad you mentioned that, because there's more to it than just buying when you see green and selling when you see red. There's everything else you can do with it with options, like you're selling calls against your positions and all that stuff. There's so many ways. And I may not have mentioned it earlier, but for you and the others that did join us in Vegas, you absolutely have an invite to our pro training session. So hopefully you can join us for those as well.
Wouldn't miss it.
Excellent. I want to ask you specifically, sorry to cut you off, I do want to ask you specifically, because this is important. Discipline and confidence are really some of the main challenges that especially newer traders have. So I really wanted to know from you if this has actually helped with your confidence.
Actually, I'm glad you did bring that up, because one of my key problems was not getting into trades, good trades, but staying in those trades. And one thing you impressed upon me during those sessions in Vegas was this is the rules. Of course, I should also confess that one thing that actually also helped me to hold on to those trades was the way I implemented it. So having that put option and seeing that pick up in value, say in a long position, or making money off that short call when I would get the ticks against me, also helped me to maintain and stay in the trade, because you would see red in your lead, but then you would see green on your on your put. So that certainly helped me going. But the whole combination, the system, the triggers for entry, exit, plus the way I actually, according to what you had shown, the way I implemented the structure, all worked together to keep me in.
Excellent, excellent. And just one last question. I'm sure the one that just what everyone would want to ask you. Has it actually made money for you?
Absolutely. Now, given the choppiness that we've seen since the beginning of the year, which was extreme, I can't say that I made 10 times or 1,000% or 800%, but the kind of money that I've made, 50, 60%. Hey, I'll take that. In fact, I long for those days, given where we are now. So I am very happy. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that this year, actually, I've also been using trades of the Veracity system in my trading account, my swing trading account. Yeah. One way I've been using it is to use that as an extra screen to be extra careful on the trades I take. So I think you mentioned in a chat session the other day that you want to look at an overlap of both my favorite trade setup and the winning momentum, and only if both of those are triggered,
right,
would you consider a trade. Well, I've been adding another layer to it. I've also been running Voracity, and interestingly, I've been finding at least a dozen or so trades every evening, which are what I call triple plays. They satisfy all the conditions, and to me, that just gives me that added confidence that, hey, I can enter this trade and I can stay in it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's great that you can do that, and I encourage that. I mean, for any trader, one of the most important things is finding what's comfortable for you. I always say that. That's something I always tell my students. You got to find your own style. And so if you have a current strategy that you're using that's working for you, you don't have to let it go. Continue. I mean, don't try to fix what isn't broken, obviously, but adding that other layer can make an even bigger difference. Thank you so much, Sandy. Really appreciate you doing this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Looking forward to the sessions.
Yeah, great. And on that note, I saw, Raul, I saw a note, I think it was Ian Wags from Australia. Any of our previous purchasers who joined us in Vegas there can certainly join our training sessions. Absolutely.
Yes, if you already have the Veracity indicator, you can join us for the pro training sessions. We'd love to have you. Daniel was asking if I'm day trading, if I'm just doing end of day trading, why do I need the real time?
You don't. That's the short answer. You don't. Absolutely. The platinum package is the one that would be perfect for you if you're not day trading or have no plans to day trade. So absolutely.
It was a painful process for you to price it at the price that you did.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
we had to fight you on it, and you said at this price you're giving it away.
I think I am. I mean, number one, I think not only is it going to make you more than that, it's going to make you many, many times more than that if used properly. But for me, it doesn't come down to that. What it comes down to is the amount of hours I've put into this. And, when I started this was a personal thing. This was me trying to find that holy grail like most traders do. And although, I know in the back of my head there really isn't a perfect system. Like I said, with all the work I've put into this, I've gotten close, and I'm very proud of it. But it is very, very personal.
Stephen B. and a couple of other folks were saying if they already have Metastock real time, what kind of discount can they get? They can call the office 1-888-574-2426, and we'd be delighted to do something for you that you're really going to love. Vince, you had mentioned looking at Tesla earlier. We've got a lot of requests for can Vince take a look at Tesla.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we can look at a few symbols. So let's have a look. Let me bring up my chart. Actually, let me take off all these drawings. First of all, erase. Okay. Let's look at Tesla. There we go. Now this is still intraday. Let me switch here. There we go. So this is on the daily, and here's this most recent drop on Tesla. Very nice, and it's currently in a long and has been since about the 14th there in the weekly. And again, there you go. This is everything for me. Okay, this is everything for me. And for those of you with a smaller account, this is what I'm going to tell you. This is one of the things that I would talk about in the pro training session. Imagine this. Okay, here you are. You have a stock like Tesla. Now, we might not have known the story behind Tesla or anything like that going way back. I mean, some people would have if you're reading up on it. But here you have, you know, a $10, $20 stock, whatever it is. And once it's identified, boom, it kicks off and it captures that move. And it goes from $10, $20 up to $150. Okay? Huge, huge move. There's stocks that do this that start off like Apple did at $3 and so on, $5. Imagine whenever you buy an option, okay, say you buy a $3 option contract, okay, you may buy a 70 delta, you may buy a 20 delta, and that's the amount you're going to make on that move. So in other words, if you buy that 20 delta and the stock moves $1, you're going to make 20 cents. Well, if you're buying a $3 stock, that's like having an option contract with 100 delta, okay, and no expiration date. And you can just ride this up. And it's, like I said, it's a matter of time before you catch a move like that. That's the beauty of it. That's what took so long to refine on this. The basic strategy overall, like I said, came together fairly quickly, but it's picking up these moves. You know, here instead of here. Here's another perfect example. Here's a nice bullish engulfing setup right in there, and nothing wrong with it, right? I mean, you get a nice move, perfect. But how much difference can it make if you can get in here? And that's the real key, because this acceleration happens after the masses have found out about it, after CNBC starts ranting about this. Well, you're already in long before then.
A few people had also asked about Netflix. Excuse me, I'm starting to lose my voice too.
Yeah,
have some water.
Yeah, no problem. And the other thing I want you to think about, and of course we'll cover this in detail in the class, but what do you do if you have a large win? Now here's Netflix on a weekly. Okay, look at this long move. Now, if you get into it at $5 and it's currently at 50 and it's still not signaling an exit, that there's always that possibility of a gap against you for whatever reason. So, would you just hold your entire position the whole way through? You certainly can, but you can scale out. You can trail a stop. There's many things you can do. We'll talk about that. Here's the weekly. Let's look at the monthly on Netflix. There. How would we have known otherwise that Netflix was about to make a move back in here? Okay? How would we have known that? And why would we have taken this trade or not taken the trade? And look, all the way up in here, all the way up to this February where it gave us an exit. So an absolute huge move. Let's look at the daily on Netflix. And there you go. It'll still catch those swings. It'll still catch those swings. So, it doesn't really matter what you're trading. Futures are fantastic with this as well.
My friend Sandy said he forgot to mention that he used Veracity to get into GLD back in January, much earlier than the other systems. That was a nice trade.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. Let's look at, I think we showed it actually, but let's look at the gold futures here. or actually I could show GLD. Let me put on GLD, which is the Spider Gold shares. Go through, and yeah, here's a nice move right in here. Right, beautiful. And I can tell you that at this point, if you were looking at the different time frames, it would have been a mixed picture. You would have had a downtrend on other time frames, but this triggered along. So why would we pay attention to this one and not others? Why would we maybe short here but avoid this one? That's the kind of stuff I'm going to go through in the class, okay? But you can see another nice move there.
ATVI is the next one.
Oh, sure. ATVI is one that I really like. And here's the daily chart, and you can see it trends very nicely. And when you get a stock, you know, I always say take all your indicators off your screen and just build a watch list of stocks that trend nicely. Well, this is exactly why. This is a daily time frame, and even with all the increased volatility lately, this is still trending very nicely. And with Veracity, it's capturing the bulk of those moves, currently signaling a line. And got us in here today above yesterday's high. Here, which was 33.35, and finished the day just above 34. If we look at the weekly on Activision, very nice. And see, once again, in at the beginning, out before that collapse. Monthly, boom, there you go. So, and again, this is one of those stories where it took us from an $11, $12 stock up to now 34 on that monthly. So just a beautiful, beautiful move.
Glenn says he's traveling next week. Can you just remind me of the sessions and whether they'll be recorded? Yes, they'll be recorded.
Yes, absolutely. You won't miss them no matter what, but the dates are here. April 5th, 7 p.m. Eastern, April 12th, 3 p.m. Eastern. So we are actually catching the last hour of the market here on the 12th. And for the day trader package, we're adding the morning session on the 19th. Again, the link for this is tradingwins.com/win, and it should be in your chat box as well.
All right, I've got a lot of symbol requests. If you want to,
we can
go
continue.
back and take a look.
Sure, we can look at. Let me just bring up my Metastock platform. By the way, I do want to mention first of all that we're very pleased with the indicator that Metastock put together. Specifically, Jeffrey Gibby and his staff did a fantastic job. I worked with him closely on these indicators, and I wish we had more time to show you everything that Metastock can do. It really is a great piece of software, and that scanner, definitely, there's nothing else like that out there. What symbol did you want me to look at?
We're going to do Starbucks next.
Starbucks, okay. Starbucks. Boom, there you go. Started the rise here in late 2010 and move. And here's one of those examples again from that $15 area up to the $40 area in one move. Here it was when the open, here was 566. So here's where you get one of those, potential simulated option contracts with no expiration and a 100 delta right there, and a very nice move here from 5 as high as almost 16. Your exit was in around 12, right? Not bad at all. Let's have a look at the weekly. Beautiful. Absolutely. There's that choppy period. You're out of it. Okay, you're out of most of that. And even here, if you did get in here, look, you're out here. Very small loss compared to these nice runs. The daily, right in here. A little choppy, absolutely. When it trends, you can bet you'll be in there.
Vince, we talked about looking for at least 2 trade setups. Have you come up with something?
Well, out of that search that I found, there were actually two that I wanted to look at. One of them was Costco, which I believe, yep, right here. And now this is on the daily chart. And today broke out of this mini sideways channel here and gave us a setup. Now, remember, one of the rules we use is to wait for the trigger, okay, which is a trade above the high of this bar. So the high of this bar is 158.24. We will not be looking at a long position unless and until we get a trade above 158.24 on this. And you can see just how nicely it has worked in the past. That's another thing you can do with this, and as well as any other system, when you start using it, is to, whenever you get a setup, you want to look to your left. You always want to look back and see how well the system actually works on that particular stock. There's going to be some stocks that work better than others, okay? So Costco is definitely another one. You want me to give the other one right now?
And let me just read off some more questions, and I will
Sure.
get you to get to that. Our friend Susan S., who had joined us in Las Vegas, is asking if she buys the DC package, can she upgrade to real-time later? The answer is yes. Susan, just give our office a call whenever you're ready to do that. We'd be happy to help you out.
Sure.
Connie H., one of our regular members and
Yes.
regular contributors to our market chats, is asking, is there any special use of Veracity on earnings?
You know, here's the thing, and this, I didn't want to mention it because it can be a little dangerous. I'm going to tell you, first of all, don't use this unless you do a bit more research yourself, because this is one component that I have not extensively tested, okay? But in going through the charts, more often than not, when you get a signal a few days before that earnings announcement, that gap tends to go your way for whatever reason. But I can't say, I have no stats on it. I have not extensively tested it, okay? So that's something you may want to look into yourself. I'll certainly let you know when I complete my work on that. But there's potential there. I just can't guarantee that it's the right thing to do just yet, okay?
All right, Vince, what's the second trade?
So another one that came up on the scan today is ATI, Allegheny Tech. Again, if we look back, you can see how well this works, right? Now, every once in a while, this will happen. You see this little exit flag? It's actually covering that the little green diamond, okay? That can happen from time to time. But this came up on that scan, and once again, as a setup, not a trigger. It's a setup. The trigger would be a trade above that high. This is a lot less expensive. The high was 1704 today, and in the pro class, I will talk about how you can trade this with options as well as just as a stock.
Okay, Vince, we're over our time. I'm going to ask you to bring up that offer one last time, and we'll sign off.
All right. So again, we've put together two great packages for you. The link, tradingwins.com/win. The platinum package here includes the full indicator along with the lifetime license of Metastock, 2 months of data. It has our technicians will help you get everything installed and make sure it's working properly. The key here are the 2 pro training sessions. They happen April 5th and April 12th, one after hours, one during market hours, where I'm going to explain to you exactly how to use that. We haven't even covered the benefits of our pro membership, which I think is worth saying. We're going to include 30-day membership, even for our existing members. We're going to tack on 30. But during your 30 days of membership, for those of you who are new and join us for the first time, 5 times a week I put out a video every night from Sunday to Thursday. And in those videos, I will highlight trades, not just from Veracity, but from all our systems. I'll recap the markets and let you know my feelings of where I think this market is going. And in addition to that, We meet twice a week. We have live market chats that you'll be able to join. One is Monday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. The second is Thursday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. They're always recorded, and you'll have those recordings in your own personal video library. But that is all included in those 30 days. So that's the Platinum package. The Day Trader package includes everything that you get here. The difference is you get Metastock real-time, lifetime license, you get 3 months of data, and you get an additional class, training class that happens April 19th, 10 a.m., where I'm going to share my option training plan for intraday trading. And you also get 60 days of membership here. And again, our existing members will receive that as well. And I think that's it.
I wanted to read a comment by Al Noor. Let me just get to that. Some of the folks are asking, can you just repeat the ticker symbols for the two trades?
Sure. So the ticker symbols, are Costco, ticker symbol COST, Costco, and also Allegheny Tech, which is AT as in Tom I, ATI.
Al Noor says, Vince, I just want to say that to me you are a very humble and sincere man, and your strategies are great. For example, winning momentum, etc. And you're one of the best and top presenters. Thanks.
I really appreciate the comments. Thank you so much.
How did you like revealing this system finally to everybody?
It's like a piano off my back, but I'm excited now because now I actually, like Sandy said, I get to share this more often. I'll be able to highlight more trades from this in our nightly videos, and talk more about this and strategies that we can use around this in the near future. So I've promised our members many different classes that we're working on, like a forex class, more of an investment type class, a longer term trading class. It's just a matter of time in my schedule. I'm working on them. We'll get there, but now I get to create those classes with Veracity in mind.
I wanted to mention that Vince will be signing off, but the support crew will be here for any questions that you have about ordering, or if you're having difficulty with the order form online. You can call us. We'll be certainly be open for at least another hour or so by phone, 1-888-574-2426, info@tradingwins.com. If you have questions that you want to send to us by email, Vince. Finally, somebody had said your baby's free.
Yeah. This like it takes me back. When you, for those of you who are parents, and you have a baby, you take her or him home for the first time, and then people come over to visit and they want to hold the baby, and you want to hand the baby over, but you're kind of worried that they may drop the baby or something. It's similar for me. Now, all kidding aside, it's just something I've worked very hard on, but I'm glad to share it with you. Thanks again, everyone, for spending the hour and a half with us. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And for those of you who will be joining us, I look forward to seeing you on our classes coming up in April, and should be a lot of fun.
And thank you again. Folks, thank you for joining us for our Veracity launch, March 30th, 2016. Glad you could join us live and love the interaction. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you down the road.
Take care.